Greetings, guys and goddesses. Greetings, kings and queens. Ashe, princes and princesses. My name is Gabor Anu, and in this particular video, we're going to be talking about the totality of fasting and the benefits of intermittently fasting, at least if you do not engage in a regular fast regimen or any fast regimen throughout the year. So with that being said, what is intermittent fasting? Intermittent fasting is when you basically don't eat for between 16 and 23 hours. When you start, though, if you haven't indulged in any type of fasting or anything, you're a beginner, you will want to start. Some people prefer to start with 14 hours and build up the next day to 15 hours and then build up the next day to 16 hours instead of just jumping and going all in 16 hours. So some people prefer that, but you can go all in if you choose. So with that being said, we're going to discuss the benefits of fasting. And we're going to break all the misconceptions of fasting and all the lies being told about fasting, how fasting gets rid of your, or kills your muscle tissue or whatever like that. So with that being said, people eat constantly purely for the enjoyment of food. The sad thing is many people lack self-control, right? And do not eat for hunger, but instead for the worship of food or the enjoyment of food. So you want to spend more time engaging into spiritual practices and other spiritual activities. For example, yoga. For example, meditation, number 2. For example, number 3, affirmations. Things of that nature. So you want to do your spiritual exercises and physical exercise. And with that being said, now, due to these actions and occurrences done by humans, it has sparked a rise in obesity and many other diseases. The Prophet, peace be upon him, emphasized the habit of eating less as a method of preventing sickness and disease. This explains why our ancestors was healthy and did not suffer from what society suffers from today. So, he also states, nothing is worse than a person who fills his stomach. It should be enough for the son of Adam to have a few bites to satisfy his hunger. If he wishes more, it should be 1/3 for his food, 1/3 for his liquids, and 1/3 for his breath. Professor Mark Mattson at Johns Hopkins University, chief of the Laboratory of Neuroscience with the National Institute on Aging, right? He states, and he has published a number of papers that explains fasting just 2 times. Fasting just 2 times a week can reduce the chances of developing Alzheimer's disease and Parkinson's disease, which statistic-wise is on the rise, right? So a lot of people are getting Parkinson's and Alzheimer's. To prevent that, you can indulge in a fast. Fasting helps that. Now, there's a study that neuroscientists have discovered, and have found that overfed brains are more likely to become impaired later on in life. So if you're constantly eating and worshiping food and thinking that you need food every minute, every second, 3 to 6 times a day, that's wrong, you know what I'm saying? You're supposed to worship the spirit of God within you and dwell in your spiritual nature and righteousness, truth, you know what I'm saying? So Professor Mattson proved fasting causes an array of neurochemical alterations in the brain. Another benefit of fasting, abstaining from food boosts cognitive function, decreases inflammation, and helps one cope with stress. Fasting is equivalent to entering a challenge towards one's brain. Challenge of the mind, mind over matter, mind over 3D, mind over feelings, mind over appearances, things like that. And the brain responds to fasting by modifying stress pathways and consequently reducing the risk for various diseases or sicknesses. So with that being said, a person who fasts empowers his brain or her brain to boost its protein production and catalyze the growth of neurons and bonds between neurons. You know what I'm saying? Memory ability and learning ability, aptitude increase in response to fasting. And mitochondria and neurons and cells and nerve cells become renewed as well. So you want to renew your mitochondrial DNA, nerves and cells and tissues. Fasting helps this. Fasting also creates new nerve cells from the hippocampus stem cells. Professor Mattson also found that those who practice fasting are more likely to enjoy enhanced nerve cells that repair your DNA. You know what I'm saying? So with that being said, fasting protects the immune system on top of that, as refraining from food consumption helps stem cells self-renew themselves from a dormant state. Fasting essentially destroys all old, compromised immune cells and catalyzes stem cells to form brand new, perfectly healthy cells. You know what I'm saying? In 2017, a scientific review of studies centered on fasting was printed in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition. The review determined that fasting is an effective means of reducing cancer as well as cardiovascular disease. The article also has evidence which proves fasting has the potential to treat diabetes, balance insulin levels, and everything like that. Your blood sugar levels, it balances that. It's clear that fasting boosts the brain's health and functionality as well as the integrity of the cells throughout the body. So that's fasting. With those benefits of fasting being discussed and explained, now we're going to talk about the problem of American society when it comes to any studies of fasting or intermittently fasting. So any studies performed, this is the big problem, any studies performed by the pharmaceutical industries or any food companies regarding the merits of fasting, their agenda is clear to us that what they want to do is encourage human beings to overeat and sell them pharmaceutical drugs to alleviate or mask the negative consequences of such a gluttonous diet, of being a glutton. And we know that in the Bible it says never to be a glutton, right? In the ancient scriptures it says to fast whenever you've overeaten or you feel sick or anything like that. However, you do not have to eat 3 square meals each and every day. You know, I only eat 1 meal a day most of the time, but sometimes I indulge in 2 meals a day. You know, that should be the max right there, is 2 meals a day, you know. And if you have to come to a small meal, make it 3 and that's it. But like, shit, man, you only need 1 meal or 2 meals a day. With that being said, that's Gabar News Raw advice. With that being said, that's Gabar News advice is to eat 1 meal a day. If anything comes to worse, make it 2 meals a day. If you have to, make it 3, if that's you, you know what I'm saying? But personally, I just consume 1 or 2 meals a day, and I personally, I've been doing that for 2 years now, since 2016. So it's been very beneficial for energy, you know, for detoxification. I don't have bronchitis anymore. I don't have asthma anymore. You know, I was born with these things. I had bronchial asthma. I was on inhalers, all this other, what do you call it, promethazine. I had promethazine and stuff like that for bronchitis. I told my doctor I'm done with that and I'm not taking that, you know. I got on the herbs. Specifically, you could just take black seed oil and be good, you know what I'm saying? Another recommendation that I would recommend for asthma and bronchitis would be hot herbal tea. Drink lots of hot herbal tea. You can do a hot herbal tea fast and things of that nature. So now we know you have the power to read about fasting and incorporate this knowledge into your everyday life. To conclude and sum everything up, as time goes on, science will continue to uncover information that supports the Muslim way of life, which is fasting, Ramadan, things of that nature. And Professor Masson mentioned some powerful, life-changing benefits that come from just only fasting, you know, twice a week. So just by fasting twice a week, you can get these benefits. But fasting twice a week is not a new thing for Muslims. You know, it's been traditional. So the Prophet, peace be upon him, used to fast on Mondays and Thursdays every week outside of the month of Ramadan. You know what I'm saying? Not just, you don't only fast Ramadan, you fast all throughout the year, you know? Fasting is not just something you do for weight loss or benefits. Fasting is a lifestyle. Fasting is, you know, keeping more time with your spirit, spending more time with your spirit, you know, things of that nature. But this Sunnah is still practiced by millions of Muslims all over the world who continue to benefit from fasting in ways they didn't even know they can benefit from fasting. Now we're going to discuss autophagy. All life forms go into a state of autophagy, which is what renews damaged cells and tissues and regenerates new cells all throughout your body. Autophagy has lots to do with anti-aging, the telomeres in your cells, which dictate how long you will live. You can extend those telomeres within your cells so you can live longer and happier and healthier. You know what I'm saying? Autophagy kicks in after 12 to 18 hours of fasting. So after 12 to 18 hours of fasting, you go through the autophagy process, which is the regeneration of hormone cells and tissues and damaged proteins in your body. So your body recycles these proteins and restructures these amino acids, you know. So what happens is your body filters amino acids, which is proteins, in your body and re-edifies and restructures them to its optimal state of health. People think when you fast, you lose your muscle mass or your muscle tissue, but in all actuality, when you fast, your body actually builds on more and more muscle on top of the muscles you already have. So with that being said, we breaking that spell. Now, if you have protein waste or just a lot of damaged tissue inside of your body, after engaging in a fast, your body intelligently has its cells move all of that stuff to your kidneys where it has to be filtered, right? And everything then will be everything eventually will be pushed out of your body and detoxed and cleansed and renewed. Now we're gonna jump into the intermittent fasting breakdown, also referred to as the IF warrior diet, you know what I'm saying? So with that being said, intermittent fasting is an umbrella term for various diet routines or rituals, because we know ritual is a routine that cycles between a period of fasting and non-fasting during a defined period. Intermittent fasting can also be used with calorie restriction for weight loss if you have serious obesity or any other weight problems. So you want to fast for 14 to 16 hours if you've never fasted and you're just getting into intermittent fasting or any type of fast. You want to have a 8 to 12 hour eating window. So you decide what you're going to do, how you're going to set that up. And for people who already fasted before or they're accustomed to it, you'll want to fast for 16 to 23 hours. So intermittent fasting changes the function of cells, genes, and hormones. When you don't eat for a while, several things happen inside of your body. For example, your body initiates important cellular repair processes and changes hormone levels to make stored body fat more accessible to be burnt, you know what I'm saying, and removed. So number 2, the second benefit is insulin benefits. Blood levels of insulin drop significantly and effectively, which facilitates fat burning in your body, inside of your body. Number 3 is human growth hormone, HGH. The blood levels of growth hormone may increase as much as 5-fold. Higher levels of this hormone facilitate fat burning and muscle gain, and numerous other benefits and studies are being found still even today in 2018 on fasting and intermittently fasting. So with that being said, number 4 is your cellular repair. The body induces important cellular repair processes such as removing waste material from cells and things of this nature. And number 5 is gene expression. There are beneficial changes in several genes and molecules related to longevity and protection against disease. Many of the benefits of intermittent fasting are related to these changes in your hormones, your genes, your expression, and functionality of cells. So the bottom line is when you fast, insulin levels decrease and human growth hormone goes up. So that's what we want. Your cells also initiate important cellular repair processes and change which genes express themselves, you know what I'm saying? You lose weight, right? And belly fat that's unwanted. Short-term fasting actually, in all actuality, increases your metabolic rate by 3.6% to 14%, helping you burn even more calories. So we breaking the spell or the myth or the curse, talking about fasting slows down your metabolism when it actually increases your metabolism. So when you fast, you're increasing your metabolism, you're detoxing and you're cleansing, you know what I'm saying? Now we're gonna go into why intermittent fasting is referred to as the warrior diet. Now, intermittent fasting is referred to as the warrior diet because it balances your consumption of food. So in other words, intermittent fasting works on both sides of the calorie equation, right? It boosts your metabolic rate, or your metabolism in other words, meaning it increases the calories out and reduces the amount of food you eat, reducing the calories in, you know what I mean? The balance. Now, according to 2014 review of the scientific literature Intermittent fasting can cause weight loss of 3% to 8% over just 3 to 24 weeks, you know? So this is a huge amount of weight loss. The people also lost 4 to 7% of their waist circumference, which indicates that they lost lots of belly fat, and the harmful fat in the abdominal cavity that causes disease, it diminishes or it's obliterated just by engaging in a fast. You know what I'm saying? So now, according to 2014 review of the scientific literature, intermittent fasting can cause weight loss of 3% to 8% over just 3 to 24 weeks, you know? So this is a huge amount of weight loss. The people also lost 4 to 7% of their waist circumference, which indicates that they lost lots of belly fat, and the harmful fat in the abdominal cavity that causes disease, it diminishes or it's obliterated just by engaging in a fast. You know what I'm saying? So with that being said, that's the benefit. Another benefit of regular fasting and intermittent fasting is it makes you more intelligent, and it actually boosts your testosterone and balances every hormone in your body. Now, the last reviewer study on intermittent fasting, it was shown that intermittent fasting caused less muscle loss than continuous calorie restriction. So intermittent fasting, just intermittently fasting, has been proven to be more effective than calorie restriction, restricting yourself of calories. So with that being said, all things considered and taken into consideration, right? Intermittent fasting can be an incredibly powerful weight loss tool, indeed. You know what I'm saying? So with that being said, this is Gabar News breakdown on what intermittent fasting is and the benefits of fasting. So become a warrior and start fasting. So with that being said, I love you.